The problem with marriage is that it ends every night after making love, and it must be rebuilt every morning before breakfast. What matters in life is not what happens to you but what you remember and how you remember it. Even if you are dying of fear, even if you are sorry later, because whatever you do, you will be sorry all the rest of your life if you say no. Always remember that the most important thing in a good marriage is not happiness, but stability. It was time when they both loved each other best, without hurry or excess, when both were most conscious of and grateful for their incredible victories over adversity. Each man is master of his own death, and all that we can do when the time comes is to help him die without fear of pain. A person does not belong to a place until there is someone dead under the ground. A lie is more comfortable than doubt, more useful than love, more lasting than truth. She knew that he loved her above all else, more than anything in the world, but only for his own sake. We had made love without love, half-dressed most of the time and always in the dark so we could imagine ourselves as better than we were. Life had already given him sufficient reasons for knowing that no defeat was the final one. The only difference today between liberals and conservatives is that the liberals go to Mass at 5 o'clock and the conservatives at 8. The problem in public life is learning to overcome terror. The problem in married life is learning to overcome boredom. He shook my hand and said goodbye with a sentence that might have been either good advice or a threat. Take good care of yourself. To all, I would say how mistaken they are when they think that they stop falling in love when they grow old, without knowing that they grow old when they stop falling in love. Everything that belonged to her husband made her weep again: his tasseled slippers, his pajamas under the pillow, the space of his absence in the dressing table mirror, his own odor on her skin. A vague thought made her shudder: the people one loves should take all their things with them when they die. Her nakedness was not absolute, for like Manet's Olympia behind her ear she had a poisonous flower with orange petals, and she also wore a gold bangle on her right wrist and a necklace of tiny pearls. I imagined I would never see anything more exciting for as long as I lived, and today I can confirm that I was right. Just because someone does not love you as you want, it does not mean that you do not love with all his being. At some point, you no longer feel pain. Sensation disappears and reason is dulled, until you lose all grasp of time and place. Your first realization when you become an important person is that all day and all night, whatever the circumstances, people want to hear you talk about yourself. The truth is I'm getting old, I said. We already are old, she said with a sigh. What happens is that you don't feel it on the inside, but from the outside everybody can see it. This was when she asked him whether it was true that love conquered all, as the song said. It is true, he replied, but you would do well not to believe it. Don't open that door, she said, the hallway is full of difficult dreams. And I asked her, how do you know? And she told me, because I was there a moment ago and I had to come back when I discovered I was sleeping on my heart. Why were you so old when we met? I answered with the truth, age isn't how old you are, but how old you feel. One can be in love with several people at the same time, feel the sorrow with each, and not betray any of them. Become a better person and be sure to know who you are, before meeting someone new and hoping that person knows who you are. The only thing he could do to stay alive was not to allow himself the anguish of that memory. He erased it from his mind, although from time to time in the years that were left to him he would feel it revive, with no warning and for no reason, like the sudden pang of an old scar. Fiction was invented the day Jonas arrived home and told his wife that he was 3 days late because he had been swallowed by a whale. Always remember that the most important thing in a good marriage is not happiness, but stability. It always amuses me that the biggest praise for my work comes from the imagination, while the truth is that there's not a single line in all my work that does not have a basis in reality. The problem is that Caribbean reality resembles the wildest imagination. She discovered with great delight that one does not love one's children just because they are one's children, but because of the friendship formed while raising them. I don't know who said that novelists read the novels of others only to figure out how they are written. I believe it's true. We aren't satisfied with the secrets exposed on the surface of the page. We turn the book around to find the seams. Everything that goes into my mouth seems to make me fat. Everything that comes out of my mouth embarrasses me. I think that the idea that I'm writing for many more people than I ever imagined has created a certain general responsibility that is literary and political. There's even pride involved, in not wanting to fall short of what I did before. People spend a lifetime thinking about how they would really like to live. I asked my friends and no one seems to know very clearly. To me it's very clear now. I wish my life could have been like the years when I was writing Love in the Time of Cholera. Faulkner is a writer who has had much to do with my soul, but Hemingway is the one who had the most to do with my craft, not simply for his books, but for his astounding knowledge of the aspect of craftsmanship in the science of writing. The most important thing Paris gave me was a perspective on Latin America. It taught me the differences between Latin America and Europe and among the Latin American countries themselves through the Latins I met there. I must try and break through the clichés about Latin America. Superpowers and other outsiders have fought over us for centuries in ways that have nothing to do with our problems. In reality, we are all alone. Perhaps this is what the stories meant when they called somebody heartsick. Your heart and your stomach and your whole insides felt empty and hollow and aching. But when a woman decides to sleep with a man, there is no wall she will not scale, no fortress she will not destroy, no moral consideration she will not ignore at its very root. There is no God worth worrying about. I can't think of any one film that improved on a good novel, but I can think of many good films that came from very bad novels. In journalism, just one fact that is false prejudices the entire work. In contrast, in fiction one single fact that is true gives legitimacy to the entire work. That's the only difference, and it lies in the commitment of the writer. A novelist can do anything he wants so long as he makes people believe in it. She asked him to come and see her that night. He agreed in order to get away, knowing that he was incapable of going. But that night, in his burning bed, he understood that he had to go see her, even if he were not capable. He got dressed by feel, listening in the dark to his brother's calm breathing, the dry cough of his father in the next room, the asthma of the hens in the courtyard, the buzz of the mosquitoes, the beating of his heart, and the inordinate bustle of a world that he had not noticed until then, and he went out in the sleeping street.